The sun was just beginning to rise over New York's International Airport. The terminal was quiet, peaceful, bathed in the morning chill. Near Gate 22, Ibrahim Traoré waited calmly. No chute, no bodyguards, nothing to draw attention. To most travelers, he was just another anonymous African. But this man was no ordinary passenger. He was Ibrahim Traoré, the President of Burkina Faso. This was how he chose to travel. Humble, discreet, without pomp. No cameras, no protocol announcements. It was his way of staying connected to his people. He was returning from a diplomatic meeting in the U.S., where he had discussed economic partnerships and African sovereignty. Now, all he wanted was to go home. As he walked toward the Delta Airlines flight bound for Ouagadougou, he flashed a warm smile at a janitor. "Good morning. How are you?" The man smiled back, unaware he had just greeted a head of state. That was exactly how Traoré preferred it. He boarded the plane without fanfare, politely acknowledged the crew, and settled into his business-class seat, 3C by the window. No one noticed him. Or so he thought. A few rows back, whispers had already begun. An American businessman, Jason Caldwell, CEO of a major mining corporation, was also heading to Burkina Faso. Accustomed to VIP treatment, private lounges, chauffeured cars, first-class upgrades, he was furious when told at check-in that business class was full. "Do you know who I am?" he snapped, surrounded by his assistants. "I'm a key investor in Africa." The gate agent scrambled, checked their screens, but the truth was undeniable. Every seat was taken. Caldwell refused to accept it. "Find me a solution. Now." Enter Melissa Carter, the lead flight attendant. Tall, blonde, dressed in Delta's navy blue uniform, she wore a professional but icy smile. She scanned the cabin, searching for options. Her eyes landed on the man in the hoodie seated in 3C. Nothing about him suggested importance. No gold watch, no entourage, just an unassuming African traveler. She leaned toward a colleague and muttered, "He probably doesn't even belong here." With a false smile, she approached Traoré. "Sir, may I see your boarding pass?" Traoré looked up calmly and handed it to her. She examined it, then studied him. The seat was his, but something in her refused to accept that he deserved it. A few minutes later, she returned, more direct. "Sir, we need to ask you to move to accommodate another passenger. We can offer you a seat in economy, with compensation, of course." The insult was subtle but clear. Traoré gave a faint smile. "And why me?" "It's a logistical matter, sir. Is another passenger more important than I am?" Melissa didn't answer, her smile tightening. Around them, other passengers began watching, uneasy. Traoré crossed his arms. "No, I'll stay in my seat." Melissa paled. An African passenger defying her? That never happened. "Sir, I must insist. This is an airline decision." "A decision based on what?" Traoré asked, still composed. "My skin color." Silence fell over the cabin. Flustered, Melissa turned to other black passengers, pressuring them to move. A young student protested. "Why me?" That's when Traoré stood. "Enough. You're openly discriminating. This is unacceptable." Melissa, flushed with anger, stiffened. "Sir, if you refuse to comply, I'll have to call security." Traoré held her gaze. "Do what you must." Meanwhile, Caldwell, the American CEO, was finally seated, oblivious to Traoré. Melissa fawned over him, offering champagne and smiles, making the disparity in treatment painfully obvious. The plane took off, tension thick in the air. Mid-flight, Caldwell boasted loudly, "These African nations need us to develop. Without our companies, they're nothing." A Burkina seated nearby whispered to her neighbor, "They don't even realize they're insulting their own president." Upon landing in Ouagadougou, a surprise awaited. A military escort, government officials, and official vehicles lined the tarmac. Melissa and Caldwell, assuming the reception was for the CEO, were stunned when an officer approached Traoré and saluted. "Mr. President, welcome home." The cabin froze. Melissa turned white. Caldwell stammered, "President." Without sparing them a glance, Traoré disembarked the chairs. Meanwhile, Melissa and Caldwell were detained by soldiers. "You're under arrest for disrespecting a head of state," an officer declared. Melissa trembled. "I didn't know." "You didn't need to know," the officer replied. "You just needed to show respect." The story exploded online. Delta Airlines issued a belated apology, but the damage was done. As for Traoré, he returned to work, showing no bitterness. But that flight would be remembered. The day a president traveled as an ordinary man, and arrogance was humbled.